You're ignoring your best prospects, and they're sitting right there in your LinkedIn connections. You spent years building a network of hundreds, maybe thousands of connections, and most people treat them like they don't exist, constantly chasing new people instead. Here's what I see all the time. Someone runs a LinkedIn campaign. They send out 20 connection requests per day, maybe 5 or 6 accept. Then they immediately pitch those new connections 4 times over 12 days. And when that doesn't work, they give up and start the whole cycle again with another batch of new people. Meanwhile, sitting in their existing network are hundreds of ideal customers they connected with months or years ago. People who already know their name, have already seen their content, and are far more likely to respond. But they never message them. It's madness. You're spending all your energy on the tap, bringing new connections into your LinkedIn tank, whilst completely ignoring that tank of connections you've already built. This video is for B2B founders, consultants, coaches, and sales professionals who are using LinkedIn to generate business, particularly if you're running outreach campaigns focused entirely on new connections, or you've got hundreds of connections sitting there doing nothing. And I know what you're thinking, but those existing connections already know what I do. If they were interested, they would have reached out by now. Wrong. They weren't interested then, because they didn't have the problem then. But problems change, situations change, priorities change. And when they finally have that problem that you can solve, you want to be the first person they think of. Let me tell you about a message I received recently that perfectly illustrates this. I'd connected with someone back in 2021. We'd had a brief conversation, nothing came of it, and we still stayed connection. Over the next 3-4 years, I posted regularly, sharing insights about LinkedIn, personal branding, B2B marketing, sending quite a few direct messages every few months, never commented, never liked, never reached out, radio silence. One day, out of the blue, get a message. Elliot, been following you for a while. We're finally ready to invest in our LinkedIn presence. Can we have a chat? It wasn't that he wasn't interested back in 2021. It's just that he had 99 problems and fixing LinkedIn wasn't one of them. Until, of course, it did become one of them. And when it became a priority, I was top of mind because it stayed visible and I was already in his network. That's the power of your tank of connections. He was sitting there for 4 years. If I'd been focused only on chasing new connections, I would have missed that opportunity entirely. Here's the thing. I see this pattern constantly with clients. Someone they connected with 18 months ago suddenly replies to a message because now they have the budget, now they have the problem, now they have the authority to make the decision. The timing wasn't right before. You stayed in their network, they stayed visible. When the timing became right, you were there. So let me break down why your existing connections are your best prospects and how you actually use the tank you've already built. Number 1, the mathematics of the tank versus the tap. Let's look at the numbers. When you send connection requests to new people, you can safely do about 20 per day. Of those 20, maybe 5 or 6 will accept. You're adding 5 or 6 new connections daily. Now, when you message those brand new connections, the response rate is typically 2%, maybe 3%, maybe lower if your message is too salesy. So out of those 5 or 6 connections, you might get 1 response every few days, if you're lucky. Compare that to messaging your existing connections. You can safely message about 100 people a day that you're already connected to. And your response rate from existing connections is typically 10 to 15%, sometimes higher if you've been visible with good content. Do the math. 100 messages at 10 to 15% response rate is 10 to 15 responses per day. Sure, not all of them are going to be super positive, but some will. Versus 5 or 6 new connections at 2 to 3% response rate, basically gives you nothing. The tank is 5 to 10 times more effective than the tap, yet everyone focuses on the tap, that drip, drip, drip new connections. Number 2, why existing connections respond better? Think about it from the recipient's perspective. You've got a message from someone you've never heard of, asking to connect, and then immediately they're pitching you. The guard is up. You're thinking, here we go, another spam message. Now compare that to getting a message from someone you connected with a year ago. You recognize the name, you've probably seen their posts occasionally. There's familiarity, even if you've never spoken, your guard is lower. You're more likely to actually read the message and respond. It's basic human psychology. We respond better to people we have some relationship with, even if that relationship is just, I've seen your name before and you seem credible. Number 3 is this whole thing about multiple touches. In marketing, we know it takes multiple touches before someone is ready to buy. Some people say 7 touches, some people say 12, some people say more or less. The point is, one interaction is rarely enough. But here's where people get it wrong. Multiple touches doesn't mean you should pitch someone 4 times in 12 days and give up. That's not multiple touches, that's harassment. Multiple touches means staying visible over time. A connection request, an introduction, a post they see, another post, a message after a couple of months, sharing some interesting content. another post, another message, 3 months later. That's how you build familiarity and trust. Your existing connections have already had multiple touches with you. They've seen your name in their feed. They might have read some of your content. They've had time to form an impression of you. When you message them, it's not touch number 1, it's touch number 7 or 12 or 20. That's why they respond better. Number 4 is this whole thing about timing. Here's the truth about B2B buying. Timing is everything. Someone might be the perfect prospect for your solution, but if they don't have the problem right now, or don't have the budget right now, don't have the authority to make the decision right now, they're not going to buy. When you only focus on new connections, you're essentially playing the lottery. You're hoping that the exact moment you reach out is the exact moment they happen to have the problem, the budget, and the authority. The odds are terrible. But when you stay connected with people over time, you increase the odds dramatically. You're there when the timing becomes right. You're there when the problem becomes urgent. You're there when the budget gets approved. You're there when they get promoted and now have the decision-making authority. The tank lets you play the long game. The tap is just hoping you get lucky. So number 5 is the strategy. Tank first, tap second. Here's what you should actually be doing. Keep the tap running. Continue to add in new connections at a steady pace. Sure, 20 invites a day to your ideal customer profile. Build it up over time. But focus your energy on the tank of connections you've already built. Message your existing connections regularly. Not spam, not constant pitching, but valuable check-ins, relevant insights, helpful resources. Think of it like this. You can message 100 existing connections per day safely. That's 500 per week. If you've got 1,000 connections, theoretically you could reach your entire network twice per week, twice per month. You're not going to hit them that often, but every single week, 10%, 15% response rates. That's 50, 75 conversations could be happening. Show me a connection strategy that generates 50 to 70 qualified conversations per week. It doesn't exist. So the next point is, what do I actually say to them? Well, this is where people get stuck. I connected them 2 years ago. What do I say now? It's actually simpler than you think. You don't need to acknowledge the time gap or apologize for not being in touch. Just provide value and start a relevant conversation. I see you're working in this industry. I've just published something about blah, blah, blah. That might be useful. Here's the link, or can I send you the link, or here's a link to my post. Or I've been thinking about whatever industry trend is. How are you seeing it from your perspective? Another really good one is, I'm working with a few companies that are similar to you in your sector, or maybe name the competitors, helping them with a specific problem. Just want to know, is there something you're dealing with at the moment? You're not selling, you're starting a conversation. And because they're already connected with you and have seen your name before, they're far more likely to engage. The bottom line is this: you spent years building your LinkedIn network, treat it like the asset it is. Stop ignoring your network, your tank, whilst you obsess over new connections to tap. The best prospects are already in your network. You just need to reach out to them. Here's what I want you to do. If you're sitting on hundreds of thousands of LinkedIn connections and you're not actually sure how many of them actually match your ideal customer profile, let me show you. Book a call with me and I'll walk you through how to analyze your existing network. We'll look at how many of your current connections are actually your ideal customers. We'll identify who you should be messaging, and I'll show you how to do this systematically without it feeling spammy or overwhelming. Because here's the thing, you've already done the hard work of building the network. Now you need to activate it properly. So go to www.themaestro.com and book a call. We'll spend 20 or 30 minutes looking at your network together, and I'll show you exactly how to turn your tank into a consistent pipeline of conversations. Stop chasing new connections when your best prospects are already sitting in your network. Focus on the tank, not the tap. That's it from me. Has it been helpful? Let me know if you've ever had someone reply to you years after you first connected. Thanks for watching.